Alright, man, the best possible rare champions you can look to max up on your account in 2025, man. Let's do this, and what better place to start than the recently power-spiked Reliquary Tender, who was already an extremely good rare champion, has gotten even stronger since the release of the Chimera clan boss, right? It mostly comes down to an A2 and an A3, which the A2 reads, remove all debuffs from all allies, then place the continuous heal buff for a couple of turns on a 3-turn cooldown. Extremely reliable debuff removal, great into Chimera clan boss. Also, the Chimera clan boss's, Viper form tries to steal all of your buffs, except it can't steal continuous heal buffs, and so even this extra healing is going to get a lot of value there. But it's not just Chimera, useful skill to have basically everywhere, and of course she brings a 5-10 cooldown revive as well. Yeah, I mean, fantastic stuff. Reliquary Tender, easily, I want to say, the best support rare champ in the game by a lot. I don't think it's actually close. Next up, we've got ourselves a little bit of a hot take, man, and I'd love to hear what you guys think about this one, but Spymaster, for me, is a champ that's being overlooked a little bit, especially for beginner players to potentially build out on their account, to help them get started into Chimera clan boss as well. So on the A1, we've got a single target hitter with a 60% chance of decreasing the duration of 2 random buffs in the target by 1 turn, and keeping the Chimera's buffs under control is a super crucial part of the boss fight overall. Spymaster also brings an attack all enemies, 60% chance of placing block buffs debuff for 2 turns as well. Very strong for a rare champion indeed. And you'll also get a little bit of extra wave control, or potentially control in things like Classic Arena as well, if you build a Spymaster with place a counterattack buff on himself, and then also place a provoke debuff for 1 turn on 2 random enemies on the A3. Now, while I'm not recommending that you just go build a Spymaster randomly on every single account that you've got, if you're in like the earliest months of your raid account, right, you might just want to build a Spymaster up to level 50, kind of hold the line a little bit, see if you can pull anything better from shards, like a better block buffs champion, something like an Ugo or whatever, to bring into Chimera. And if you don't, then who knows, maybe you can consider taking Spymaster up to level 60. Just an interesting one to bring into the conversation, I think, with Chimera clan boss. And speaking of early game accounts, if you're looking to get a new start in Raid Shadow Legends, a fresh start, and create a new account with the best possible promo link going in 2025, then make sure to kickstart your new account using my beginner promo link down below at the top of the video description box right now. Make sure that you are signed out of Plarium Player on your PC. Hit that link, use it to create a fresh new raid account, re-download the game, and as soon as you've completed the tutorial on that new account, you will have Karato Fox Hunter, a free legendary champ waiting for you in your inbox, and then as you level up your account, 3 additional epic champions will be yours. And back to the champs, we've got good old Painkeeper, man. Painkeeper is a crazy component champion you can eventually use in an unkillable clan boss team, which is great, but even just besides that, Painkeeper's A3 makes her useful in basically every team in the game. Like, are you serious? Decrease the cooldowns of all ally skills by 1 turn, bookable down to a 4-turn cooldown. Of course, one of the big advantages of building out red champions, especially in the early game, is that resources are limited, and it's much easier to get your hands on rare skill tomes from things like the clan shop and stuff like that, and fully book out your rare champions than it is to build out legendaries and stuff like that, right? So, yeah, Painkeeper's A3, it just kind of scales with everything. Like, the more powerful the team around the Painkeeper is, the more powerful she becomes, and so she scales excellently well. She also brings some team-wide healing as well on her A2. It's an attack all enemies, 4-turn cooldown, heal all allies by 15% of this champion's max HP. So, lovely. Oh, double hitter and a bit of 10 meter fill on the A1 as well. Painkeeper's just a great champ to build overall. A little bit of a different flavor of Painkeeper is Renegade, who brings a kind of similar skill on a longer cooldown, but it decreases the cooldown of all allied skills by 2 turns instead. So, in some ways more powerful, in some ways weaker. Renegade, great team for keeping your team just well oiled in the dungeons and get them firing much faster. Yeah, just another great rare champion to at least hold in your vault until you want to build her out to put her in something like a specific spider team or something, pair her up with things like Cold Heart and stuff like that, to just drastically increase your clear speeds. Next up, she's campaign farmable, she's semi-naked, you know you love her, it's good old War Maiden, man. Yeah, you can farm your War Maidens up from campaign stage 9. I still think that even in 2025, she's just an incredible rare champion to build out. So you might as well, because she's literally completely free to fully book up just by feeding copies of War Maiden into War Maiden in your tavern, right? Attack all enemies on the A3. This is what it's all about. 100% land rate, strong version decreased defense debuff for a couple of turns. Insane. 3-10 cooldown. Unheard of for a rare champion. It's actually better than some epic champions who also have this skill, which is just crazy. And this is such a fantastic debuff to have. You're going to use it into basically all of your wave content. You're going to use it in your, hopefully, nice and fast, classic arena teams when you're just getting started. She's just an insane champion and easily the best campaign farmable rare champion in the game. However, speaking of campaign farmable champions, I would highly recommend that you hold on to Valerie if you do happen to grab her. I wouldn't say build her out by any means. I'd say keep her in your vault, keep her secret, keep her safe. And she's farmable on campaign stage 1. And likewise, if you happen to get your hands on a Hellborn sprite, put her in your vault, keep her secret, keep her safe. Because like Valerie, she has a very similar skill set to Valerie in the form of her A3. Increase the duration of all ally buffs by 1 turn and place an increased crit rate buff on allies for 2 turns. But this is what we're really interested in, right? Increasing the duration of ally buffs by 1 turn. It's on a 3-turn cooldown, and that makes this skill, and Valerie has a similar skill on her A2, incredibly valuable. This is the case because if you take a Hellborn sprite and a Valerie, and at any point in your raid career you happen to get your hands on the legendary champ Vault Keeper Wixwell, you can eventually create an unkillable, truly unkillable Infinity Shield Wixwell clan boss team. And that will literally solve Demon Lord on your account forever. So just trust me, you can do your research and your homework on the team in due time if you eventually get your hands on the Wixwell. But those 2 rare champions, the Valerie and the Hellborn, just keep at least 1 copy of those gals in your vault. Next up, we've got the best stun set champion in the game, I think. I think that's fair to say in terms of rare champions, at least, of course, right? There's some epic champions that are great in the stun set, but Soulborn Boya, she has an attack all enemies on her A1 with an additional chance of inflicting a critical hit. So you can actually build her out with 75% crit, and she can do a reasonable amount of damage with 100% crit rate, effectively, on this A1. And yeah, in the stun set, it's an attack all enemies. She has an 18% chance on dealing damage to stun, and so she's going to be stunning the crap out of enemy waves while spamming out this A1, but the rest of her kit is pretty saucy as well. So the A2 attacks 1 enemy, has a chance of inflicting, extra chance of inflicting a crit, will also ignore a ton of the target's defense, and so this A2 can actually hit quite hard. And then on the A3, attacks 1 enemy, and it also has a chance of fully depleting the target's 10 meter on a 4-turn cooldown. Takes a lot of skill bucks, but you can get some use out of this in things like Spider as well, or even just for inflicting some extra control against waves too. But Soulborn Boya, probably the best champion in the game for putting in a stun set, though I will go ahead and shout out good old, Banshee for the Undead Hordes, and Abyssal for the Demon Spawn. We've also got the likes of Ingot Twist Staff for the Sylvan Watchers, champs that have either an attack all enemies A1, or they have multiple attack all enemies A2s, and they're like a support style champ. You're not really bringing them for the damage, but you can put them in a stun set, and because they've got so many attack all enemies style skills, they're just landing a crazy amount of control. Soulborn Boya, probably the best of the bunch, but I'd recommend building out a few, man. Like 1 champion in a stun set for every faction, or thereabouts, is probably going to pay off in the long run in your account, man. Things like faction wars, secret rooms, Curse City rooms, that kind of thing. Speaking of which, man, we've got good old KZ D-Pad, who does actually have 2 attack all enemies style skills, also some self buffs as well, which is great. Yeah, great champion to put in a stun set, but he's got an extra caveat to him, an extra bit of spice, extra bit of sauce that makes him awesome. Actually, a couple of extra sauces, man. The first one is that he doesn't actually need any skill books, right? It's only the weak version of debuffs that he's placing, and so you don't really need the extra land rate on this 30% version of decreased defense on his attack all enemies A2. It's not really that required, right? You can just leave your Kerzad unbooked for the longest time if you want to. The skill books are kind of optional, which is great. That's just a great thing to have, a great thing to know. Second up, on his A1, attacks 1 enemy, place an extra hit if this attack is critical. The extra hit places a decreased speed debuff for 2 turns. Great stuff. Having a super reliable decreased speed debuff on any champion really is a really good thing. To have it this reliable and the strong version on the A1 of a rare champion is great, and it's particularly good for Kerzad into the Iron Twins dungeon, where the affinity of the boss is shifting every day, right? And so if you've got like a Force champion that's trying to place decreased speed on their A1, they're going to be weak hitting against Spirit, right? Against Spirit Affinity Iron Twins. Kerzad D-Pad, being a Void champion, means that he's never going to weak hit against the Iron Twins boss, meaning that this decreased speed debuff, it's always going to go active, right? It's just a very reliable A1 to bring into that dungeon. In fact, I think he's got a very high rating, right? Into Iron Twins. Where is it? Oh, there it is, right up at the top, man. Good old 4.8. Yeah, in-game reviews are actually spot on for Kerzad's reviews. How about that, man? They're usually so inaccurate, but there you go. Next up, we have the fastest campaign farmer champion in the game, which can also be put in a stun set, by the way, if you want. It's good old Fellhound. He's going to attack all enemies A1. That's all you need to know. The rest of the kit literally doesn't matter at all. You know, block damage buff on one ally for one turn. The A3's a bit, you know. The A1, it's like an extremely fast attack animation, and the damage modifiers are just good enough that if you build Fellhound out with enough damage, 100% crit, good crit damage, that kind of thing. Yeah, use Fellhound as your campaign farmer. He's going to clear campaign stage 12-3 on brutal difficulty in like 6 or 7 seconds. Like, it's something absolutely ridiculous like that. Another champ that attack all enemies, and I swear this is going to be the last time I bring up stun set in this video, but I do love a good stun set on a support champion just to get more out of them. Bellower is great as well. This guy has attack all enemies on every single skill, which is just absolutely insane. You can also put your Bellower in the Blessing Nature's Bounty. So if you ever get any like Awakening Stars on your Bellower, you can key in the Nature's Bounty Blessing, and it gives you a chance to turn your weak debuffs into the strong version of the debuffs. And Bellower brings a lot, man. Decreased speed, weak version. Decreased attack, decreased defense, both weak versions. Yeah, if you can get any of these to roll into the strong version with that blessing, you're going to have a really good time with your Bellower, but obviously great in the stun set. Also can be a fantastic campaign farmer as well. In fact, on my main account, my Bellower is my campaign farmer, as you can see, and look at him go. He's not quite as fast as Fellhound, just because his animations are a little bit slower, and because sometimes on that last wave he takes a couple of hits to get the wave dead, which it's fine. It's like an 8-second clear or something, but that one was quick, man. 7 seconds. Let's have it. Bellower, man, has been one of the best builds on my account by quite a bit. Next up, we have another campaign farmable champion, which frankly I think is slept on like crazy, man. I've been doing a lot of account takeovers on this channel recently, mostly focusing on super early game accounts, and I tell you what, man, if you don't pull an apothecary, right, as your speed booster on your account, and you don't want to build out the High Katoon because she's an epic champion and therefore she's going to eat up your epic skill tomes, right? Maybe you want to spend those epic skill tomes on somebody else. Just farm up a Diabolist. Just take her up to level 50. She's campaign farmable. She's going to drop in campaign stage 12 anyway, which you're going to be farming a hell of a lot to level up your food champions and stuff like that. You're going to get copies of Diabolist coming out of the wazoo, you know what I'm saying? You're going to have her all over the place, and she's going to be very easy for you to sort of max book out just using copies of the champ. And yeah, she brings that strong version of increased speed buff on all allies for a couple of turns. She's also, as far as the Demon Spawn faction goes, I believe the only non-legendary Demon Spawn champ in the game that brings the strong version of increased speed buff on all allies for a couple of turns. Is there even a legendary Demon Spawn champ that brings increased speed? Like strong version? I can't even remember, to be honest, off the top of my head. But she's definitely the only rare or epic champion, right? The only budget option that you're going to have for this buff in that entire faction. And so for that reason alone, she's worth a level 50. But she's a very good, very underrated budget option to bring increased speed buff in the early game as well. And she also brings some 10 meter fill and decreases the 10 meter of enemies by 15% as well. Yeah, you're probably going to use her in things like Arena. You're probably going to use her in things like Tag Arena, where, I mean, you want all of the speed and all of the 10 meter control and stuff you can get for farming up Tag Arena in the early game, which is important to do as an early game account because you want to be farming up enough gold in Tag Arena to be getting your Drexthar fragments from the bazaar, and so it is important to have, you know, a few teams up and ticking. Next up, we're going to get to the obvious one, which I'm going to absolutely blast through because everybody knows that Cold Heart's coming. Like, what are you talking about? She's got a quadruple header A1, incredible stuff for just annihilating the Fire Knight's shield in the Fire Knight dungeon. Ridiculously good. She's got a good amount of wave damage with an attack all enemies on the A2, which is just lovely. And then the infamous A3, which, I don't know, hits for like, for me at least, it hits for like 1.5 million against Spider. Attacks one enemy, decrease the target's 10 meter by 100%, extra 30% chance of inflicting a crit, and damage increases according to enemy max HP. It hits like a truck. It scales with the health of the bosses that you're attacking into. I mean, this is ridiculous. Alright, here we go. This is in Spider, stage 24. Cold Heart's Heartseeker skill just came back up off of cooldown. Let's have it. What the hell? It didn't hit nothing. I mean, let's try that again. With feeling this time, and hopefully Phantom Touch. God damn it. Oh man, third time lucky, dude. Third time lucky. Hey, well, you know what, that'll do. Nearly 1.4 mil. It's fine, okay? That makes the point. And hey, man, if there's any rare champions you feel like I've missed off of this comprehensive 2025 ultimate list, make sure you let me know down below in the comments. But next pick is gonna be just the quintessential reviver of the rare champions, man. Just the ultimate reviver, actually. No rare champ has a more powerful revive than that of Tree Shield, not at least at the time I'm shooting this video. It's a double revive, unheard of really for a rare champion. Places shield buff on revived allies for 2 turns, equal to a percentage of their max HP on a 5-turn cooldown. That alone makes Tree Shield not absolutely insane. He's not the only rare reviver in the game, right? You've got Grinner, you've got that Ogrin Tribes Void one. Not very good in my opinion, not compared to Tree Shield Notman, who brings the extra utility as well. Always a 2, healing all allies by 50% of the max HP and placing increased defense buff on allies as well. Might be weak version, but it's on a 3-turn cooldown. That little bonus plus the healing, it's just great. In addition, he also brings a triple hitter A1, which is actually crucial to note, especially in the early game. Great to have as many multi-hitters as you can get your hands on to bring into Fire Knight Dungeon as well. And so, if you happen to pull him quite early on from your Void Shards, just build the guy. I don't know what to tell you, man. You're going to be using him, right? You're going to be using him. And his aura as well, ally speed and faction crips by 15%, which is just nice to have. Tree Shield Notman, the ultimate rare champ reviver. Anyway, that's all I got for this one. Remember to use the beginner promo link down below at the top of the video description box, man. Hit that link right now to kickstart your new raid account. Start your new account the right way in 2025, man, with 4 free champions, starting off with the legendary Corrado Fox Hunter, man. And there you do go. All right, thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you all did enjoy. I'm going to catch all of y'all just a tad bit later, man.